Okay, well, hi, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
It really helps if I press go live, you know? I mean, I'm like pulled a Scott. So, anyhow.
It was nice to hear the countdown music twice because I always bop along to the countdown music.
Oh, my gosh. So, everybody, welcome to my deck casual with Simon of the Hermit's Cave. We are talking today about the Archeo Personal Archetypes by Nick Bantock. So, and I'm thrilled to do that. I'm thrilled to have that conversation. And have we? Did it pop? I think. Did I see?
Yeah.
You did. It did. Okay. All right. So let's say hi to some people, shall we? We've got Tangi is here. We were just talking about you, Tangi. I am sending Simon a link to your new musical endeavors. Jamie is here. Hello. Zane. And Kristen Louise. Hello. M.A. Shellfish Tarot. Hello. Thank you.
Hello.
And
that's new.
Yeah. Diane is here. Hello. I just got the pop up. So
Yeah.
It's all right. It's all right. Just saying hi to everybody. And goodness, somebody named Tarot Stash is here. Don't know what that's about. Or she is here, or she had a live before this with Kim from Abundant Life Tarot, which was
cool.
Quite lovely. They were talking about ancestor work. So I highly recommend that.
Very wonderful.
Ooh, Hermit's Cave is here. Hi, Simon.
Don't let him in.
Block. Oh, look, Chris is here.
Hey, Chris.
Robin's here. Hello.
Robin.
I see Kim.
Oh, Kim.
And Beth is here. Hello. So lots of wonderful people. Thank you. Yeah, Scott said he knew I was going to say that, or I made the mistake.
Hi, Scott.
So anyhow, all right. And Regina is here and Jonathan. So wonderful. So this is great. So many people here. So thanks for coming on, Simon. And I think I first heard about this deck on one of the corn streams. Somebody may have mentioned it in a live or something like that in one of the corn streams. And
well, it's really interesting because I know one of the questions is like, where did you hear the deck? And my first reaction was through you. But I remember as well seeing you do a walkthrough of the deck and me going to add it to my Amazon list to find it was already there. It was already on my Amazon list. So I'm like, so where did I first hear about this deck? So if it's come up on, the Tarot Times, maybe that's that mystery solved. Because I was like, I really don't know how I know about it, but I was more aware of it because you did the walkthrough.
Oh.
And this is great. I've got to add this, and there it already was on my wish list. So
yeah. Well, and somebody said the cover looks a bit like Gerald. Yes, and actually, when I did my flip through of it after I got it, I actually, when I do a flip through, I put a mustache on the deck. So, and Justin Michael, he was funny. He was actually, he thought that was actually on the cover.
No.
Which would be great, but it's like perfect. It's like, so anyhow, Simon, how are you today, by the way?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, we were saying, wasn't we, just before we went live, it's a really busy time of the year. And anybody who works in education knows what September's like, but it's been a long day. It's been a long couple of weeks, but it's nice just to get home and just, breathe and do something fun and chill out and have a casual.
Yes, a deck casual, no less, because we get to chat about the decks. So if people have questions, please pop them in chat. I created a list of questions. And so we start. But Simon, what really attracted you to this deck? What was it that attracted you?
I think really it's quite different. Now I've been saying for as long as I can remember, and I keep repeating myself, that I'm not getting any more Oracle decks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a huge Oracle person, he says, with like 80 Oracle decks. Well, it's one of those where there are certain Oracle decks that I love and I can't get rid of, but I've got a box in the back room that's full of Oracle decks to give away or trade or whatever. And I keep saying to myself, I'm not going to buy any more Oracle decks. But this just, it sets itself apart from just an Oracle deck. I've always been fascinated by the concepts of archetypes, particularly Carl Jung and his kind of writings about archetypes. And I just find that we've got certain archetypes within the tarot that we know and we're familiar with, but then there are many other archetypes that perhaps don't get the same kind of level of attention.
Sure.
And so this deck in particular, I just thought this is something that's quite unique for me. I've got a masculine archetypes deck, but I really liked what I saw, and I thought the images were beautiful. And since getting it, the book and everything else, as we mentioned earlier, is just so well done. It's great.
Yeah, I agree. I actually am a huge fan of the Griffin and Sabine series by Nick Bantock. This is my collection. There's actually 7 books in the series. And I'm missing one of them, and it's the bridge one here. But these were, they're epistolary novels based upon writing. So this is the 25th anniversary edition. And just to show you, it was originally published in 1991.
Oh, wow.
So
30 years.
Yeah. And so, the book starts with this, and then you actually turn the page, and then it's actually a postcard. So it really, really draws me in, and you get a series of postcards, and it's a bit of a mystery. And then later on, because I'm not going to, I might get, and later on, you actually get something like this. And then you open it, and it's a letter. And so you can pull out this letter, and you read it.
And are all books in this style? Each of the 7 books?
Yes, all of the books are in this style, and it just fascinates me. Kim loves this series, and it's one of those things that when I finished this book, because I used to work at a library and it came out. I mean, come on. I mean, it's all of that idea of the ephemera and collaging it. It is really, really phenomenal. So,
like the deck then with its ephemera and
yeah. And so there's Griffin and Sabine, Sabine's Notebook, The Golden Mean, and this is the last one that we had for a while because he just did a trilogy. And then the one that I am missing is called Griffin, in which the extraordinary correspondence of Griffin and Sabine is rediscovered. And then we have Alexandria, Pharaoh's Gate, and then The Morning Star.
Wow. So are these books then, Gerald, a correspondence? Are they letters and postcards between Griffin and Sabine? I take it.
Yes.
Okay.
Then it sort of just expands and unfolds in an interesting intrigue over the series.
Wow. And are they still available like this after
They
30?
are still available. Yeah, they're still available. You can buy some of the sets. They have 2 sets, which are the 6 in the series. And this one it's sort of like an after, sort of here's an epilogue. So
Yeah, that's really cool.
yeah. And then also Nick has done something, it's called Dubious Documents, and it's a puzzle. And so it actually goes through, and you have letters, a lot of letters.
That's really cool. It's like a junk journal.
Yes, it's incredible. So
Yeah. Well, when you said about books, I'm not, again, I've spoken before about having ADD, and I do struggle with books in the main, finding time, but also staying focused. But a book like that, which is a little bit different, a bit more quirky, it's not heavy on text. I think it'll be, I might have to give them a try.
I would encourage that, and the fact that you can have the tactile experience of opening a
Yeah.
and following along, it's really, really wonderful. So
Oh, good.
all right, chat jumped. So okay, so Antoinette's here. Hello, Tony.
Hi, Tony.
I saw Abundant Life Tarot here, and I was complimenting your live with Orshi.
Hi, Kim.
And so, okay, so lots of people. Okay. Yeah, it's a real find to find it. And the problem is when we had them at the library, I used to work at a library, Simon, and some of the letters would be ripped, or the letters wouldn't be put back in the envelopes, and it was not a good thing. So, but
it only takes one, doesn't it, to destroy it?
Yeah. So, so I'm really attracted to Nick Bantock's art. And if you read the books, this world in which he creates this exchange. So, okay. So any comments before I go ask you about the book and what you think about the book? I'm going to take a sip. Anybody sip? I don't know if Deanne's here, but Deanne, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Mm-hmm.
Do tell. Can you tell what we congratulate?
Well, she posted it on Facebook, so there will be they will be adding a family member in.
Wow!
So it's just beautiful.
That is beautiful. Well, if you are here, Deanne, congratulations. I haven't seen Facebook today. We've been at work, but that's fabulous news. So,
yeah. Robin, the one that I am missing is still available. However, it is about $60 new. And so I'm looking at inexpensive used copies, because I always appreciate used copies, get something out of the, out of the landfill. So, but. So,
everybody, congratulations to Deanne.
Yeah, that's going to be so fun. Max is going to be a great big brother.
Yay.
And baby whiz. Wait a minute. Oh, okay, because I saw Regina comment about something with Tony, and I'm looking, I didn't say Tony was pregnant. Tony starts a new job, so.
Oh, excellent. Congratulations.
And Tony and Robin both did a response to your bedside table.
Yes, Andy Lane from Elaine's News and Reviews did one this morning as well. I am so nosy, Gerald. I when I set this, I was like, I really hope people do this, because I don't know what it is. I love looking at people's spaces and in their drawers and all that kind of stuff. So when I see it pop up, I'm like, yes, someone's done it. Nosy.
I like that too. What are you drinking? May I ask?
I'm drinking decaf Millicano
Okay.
with oat milk.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm having iced coffee with milk.
I love that it says howdy at the bottom.
Yeah.
How do you know to get it? If I tried that, it'll be upside down, kind of.
Do you want the secret? Do you want the secret? I always pick it on something that I can easily do. So I know that if I'm facing this,
That's clever.
you know, I actually had somebody. I was in a live and somebody was a little discombobulated that I didn't have something on the bottom of my cup. So thank you, Tangi. Tangi put Simon's channel up.
Thank you, Tangi.
And I probably know everybody in here from being in Corn Stream and seeing your lives and things like that. So that's just okay. So this comes with a book, and Nick Bantock wrote it. What are your thoughts on the book and its content?
In all honesty, I think this is one of the best companion books to an Oracle deck I've come across in a very long time. There's it's beautiful. It's nice, clear images. You get full page images for every card. The way it is set out, I love it because it's a book of two halves, isn't it? You get the cards twice. So you will get so here we have the eccentric, nice clear image, but then you get the attribute of that archetype, what that archetype's attributes are, but also then its persona. So it breaks it down into the attributes and the persona. But then what I love is that you then get a tale. So you get a story. And I don't know if you've noticed, well, you would if you've read it from the beginning, but every single story is exactly 100 words.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, and that's been done deliberately because Nick Bantock said that he didn't want to, go down that sort of rabbit hole or go off, because when you're telling a story, you can go in lots of different directions. So he knew if he limited himself to 100 words, then it would be very sort of succinct and exact and more to the point. So, and he said, you can check, and it literally is. Pick a random page, count the words, is exactly 100 words for everyone. But I love the story, and they don't follow on or anything like that. It's not like a story through the cards. Each card has its own story, and some of them are really, I don't know, they're just kind of quite out there, and you really have to sit and think about them.
Yeah.
But it's such a fantastic book. I like the size. It's quite compact. You can pop it in your bag. But yeah, it's set out really, really nice.
Yeah, I agree. And it does come, the deck does come with two blank cards. 2 blank cards so that you can add to your Archeos. So sometimes I will actually keep one of those in the deck as a well, this isn't decided, you need to do it, and it fits beautifully in this. All of our your walkthrough and my flip through are linked below in the description, and Tangi, thank you, has actually linked them in. So
she is good. Oh, Malamir as well. Hello, Malamir.
Yes.
Yeah, and I put a little sticky here because when it talks about the tales, it's really beautiful. It says the following 40 short tales aren't an attempt to define or summarize the individual Archeo. Instead, they're meant to give you a sense of the character's emotional tone and the spirit that drives them. And that is something that actually, it's quite a task to do that in 100 words.
Yes.
Beautifully written as this is. So I'm not surprised his books are, really good books, because you can just pick up from his writing here just how fantastic he is.
Yeah, and one of the things oh, was Sandra here? Did I miss Sandra coming in? Hello, Sandra.
Oh yes, there she is. Hello, Sandra.
Sandra, hello. Hello, hello. Thank you. I appreciate it. Know that I'm continuing to think about you. But one of the things that, okay, here, full disclosure, I also am, I am team ADHD. And what this also does, which I appreciate in his writing, is he picks some words that I don't know the definitions to. And I am actually, I'm looking at my dictionary going, what's that word? And then when I get the definition, and of course I can't find it, find an example. But when I look it up and then I read that paragraph again, and I'm like, I really appreciate someone who has taken the time to find the best word to describe the depth of everything about the Archeo and the archetypes. So, but yeah, so I also am not I'm not a huge oracle an oracle person. And because I sort of I don't know why, but this is probably I think the third archetype deck that I have, because I have the Carolyn Miss archetype. So, but this is one, yeah, in reading it, it just drew me in, Simon. It just drew me in. It's incredible. So
it's a beautiful read, you know, and all I've done with this deck since I've had it is just pull a single card, really looked at the image, and then I do go and look at the attributes and the persona, and then I flip over to the tales to read a tale about it. But it's not an exhaustive process. You know, you can do this, you can just sit and read this within minutes, but there is just enough, you know how sometimes you can be overwhelmed with pages and pages about a single card.
Yeah,
this gives you enough to set you on your day, you know, and to contemplate throughout your day.
Yeah,
and how that particular archetype, how you can imbue the attributes and the spirit of that archetype.
Yeah. Okay, and Diane is challenging me to give an example of a word, and I actually didn't circle it or anything like that. Oh, jeez. Did you notice that, Simon, that the word choice was really quite wonderful?
Yes, but I'm trying to think if there's a particular word that I had to look up. I mean, it's strange. I mean, if you go to page 61, which is innocent, and then look at the last sentence of the first paragraph, you've got the sky grows blue and we become immortal. And I think it's just a typo, but it's little. And I was like, agains for?
Oh, yeah, I think you're right. That's the... I was actually thinking if I go back in my, it's not going to work. Anyhow, I was just going, well, if I happen to keep it open. So, but I do that a lot, actually, is if I don't know a word, I don't, I'm good with actually looking it up. So, I mean, how often do we use the word lethargy these days?
Oh, I don't know. I could use it tonight.
Yeah. So, but I really, it's quite fun. And it just, again, I am a lover of all things books, and, and so, I'd surround myself by huge dictionaries. And as a kid, I used to actually look up a word in the dictionary and then look up a word from that definition and figure it out. And I'm a bit of a geek that way. So anyhow, so, okay.
But that's fun because it keeps our mind active, doesn't it? If we're constantly, striving to grasp understanding of particular words.
Regina asked if the word was tuck box rage. It was not that word, but that's a good one. So, Regina, okay. Regina said, "My couch is the couch of inertia." So, and and okay. So Kristen Louise said, "Lethargy is my middle name," and Geeks Unite, and I love me a thesaurus.
Yeah.
And I love a thesaurus as well as a rhyming dictionary. I like a rhyming dictionary for when I'm doing my magical work. So
I love what Kristen said as well. Team ADHD, our motto: with enough minds, we'll remember it.
Yes,
I really like that.
very true. So very, very true. Okay, so it also comes with spreads or layouts and spreads, and I appreciate how there's a short spread, a medium spread, and a full spread. I've not done any of those.
No, I mean,
So, but anyhow. So, were there cards that you liked that you wanted to pull out and chat about?
there was, but there's quite a few because there's so many of these decks, so many of these cards within this deck. I think there's a fair few that I particularly wanted to talk about. Is that how many have you got?
I have 6.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
That's okay. And I have all of mine in order, so we can put them up. So there's no problem with that.
Okay. So, I don't know if mine are in order because I've shuffled this.
No, you go. I'll pull out and from that way.
Okay, I'm going to start with the card first. And I think I paused on this when I did my walkthrough, my initial walkthrough, because there was something about this image that just wham. And I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is really, but there's something about it that was quite familiar, but quite haunting as well. Mm-hmm. And it's the Survivor card. And it's very simple. But I just remember pausing at this image and thinking, wow. And then I saw the keyword, which was survivor.
Uh-huh.
But, you know, when we think about survivor, we think about somebody in present tense having been through a situation or an ordeal that they've come through and are still here to tell the tale, survivor.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, a survivor can be somebody who is surviving every single day. Yes. You know, they are a survivor. So it's not, you know, due to something past tense, it's their current situation. And, you know, this can be any situation. I don't know if this is in a city or in the woodland or, you know, whether they're surviving because they want their next meal or a roof over their head. But it's just, there's just something about this image and particularly the facial expression.
Yeah.
That just really hit me. And I really got a sense of that survivor being a daily thing, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's, I appreciate what you're saying because oftentimes I sometimes forget that actually getting up and, you know, going to the bathroom and eating something sometimes is surviving, especially when I'm not doing well or I'm feeling depression. So this Simon reminds me of some of the iconic American photography that I've seen. There's something about it. It gives a nod to it.
Are you familiar with what's it called? Boulevard of Broken Dreams?
I'm not.
So it was a painting that was done, I think, in the 70s. But it's people like Jimmy Dean, Marilyn Monroe, and they're in this bar, you know. And this is very much a James Dean kind of stance, isn't it? The whole sort of rebel, different clothing, but the rebel without a cause. But it's somebody who, you know, is very much viewing the situation, living by their instincts,
right,
surviving each day,
right,
and also trying to blend in, you know.
Yeah. And there's while this is a survivor, it's also a feeling of isolation, and in that surviving alone. So
Yeah.
but yeah, that's beautiful. Do you want to do another one since you have
Yeah.
multiple ones? I'm waiting to see if we have any of the same ones. So
okay. So my next one is Trickster.
oh, uh-huh.
So there is another card in the deck a little bit later on, and we can jump to it now if you wanted to save a bit of time, which is Jester.
Uh-huh.
But they are so different in their archetypal energy, really. Because the Trickster, rather than the Jester, who the Jester is performing, the Trickster is somebody who is a trickster by nature. And it's, I think it referred to in the book, if I remember rightly, as the best friend that, you know, you was warned about that would get you into trouble, you know? And I really like this image of the Trickster because it's somebody who's kind of like a mischievous imp, you know, with that tail.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes.
But quite charismatic, you know, playing this instrument, quite charismatic, quite charming. So you get that sense of somebody that you might want to spend time with, but you have to be aware that the more you spend time with them, the more, you know, you're likely to end up in bother.
Yeah. And Malamar said, you know, with the Trickster or the court jesters are the ones who, while they're being funny and they appear as simple, they're actually very philosophical, and the ones who have the ability to make a statement to the king that is needed with that. So yeah, that is absolutely true. Dorothea Lange is a Dust Bowl photographer, and I love her work. So Jonathan was thinking also Dust Bowl for the Survivor, and that's a huge series of work, and you know, about the period of time, or referencing to Grapes of Wrath. So,
okay,
but
yeah, Midnight Cowboy is another image that comes to mind as well.
Mm-hmm. And you know, why can I not find my why can I not find that other one? Anyhow, oh yeah, you want to talk about the Jester now then too, since we've got
yeah, let me dig it out. So where did I put it? It was near the back.
Yeah, Oklahoma. Yep, the Great Depression in America. Yeah.
Bear with me.
No worries. I have it up too, so people are.
We just had it out, and then it's right at the end. It's bound to be, isn't it? If I've just had it out. So the Jester, again, you know, considered the fool, but is far from foolish. The Jester is actually very smart. And was it Malamir who said about having the king's ear, could be honest with the king?
Yes.
You know, the Jester actually gets by and uses his talents to be able to, you know, push the boundaries really and get away with what other courtiers and people wouldn't get away with. You know, quite smart, quite savvy, and you know, not somebody who is laughed at in a ridicule way, but laughed at in an admiration for admiration purposes, isn't it?
Right. And I also think the Jester is the one who creates that nervous laughter. It's the oh right, you're talking about me. I'm gonna laugh so that I'm okay.
Yeah. And I just think as well, you know, when you think about the Jester, they again, somebody who lives on the fringe of society, somebody who perhaps if wasn't in the position that they're in, being in front of, you know, royalty and part of the royal household or the royal court, would have a different experience within society. But because of their status, you know, they kind of they're outside of that sort of society's kind of what's expected of them.
Yeah.
They don't have to conform.
And Susie said the stick is like a forked tongue.
Oh yes.
I hadn't realized that. And you know, and I think I pulled this card for a reading I did on Roman Biscotti on Friday. The trickster is the one who will discombobulate us and will lead us a slightly different track, but they are our friend. They have our best interest in mind, and sometimes you need somebody who's going to take you a different way. I think the example I used is, you know, we all have the same route that we take to work, or when we go to the store, we have that same route. And sometimes we need to take a different route so that we can avoid an accident, or we can see something that allows us to grow. So.
And there's something, you know, I do remember being at school, and I do remember a particular friend where my parents said, you're not to hang around with them anymore, you know, and we maintained a friendship in secret because there was something about that friend that, yes, would get me into bother, but I knew that and I accepted that about them. And I did get to that point where I knew to say, no, actually, I'm not going to do that, you know?
Yeah.
But I think we are also drawn to people who are a little bit edgy, you know, or can be a little bit edgy.
Right.
I certainly am.
Yeah. Yes. Some people are. Some of us have different personalities, right? You know, but yeah, I like both of those. I'm going to pick one. I picked the Alchemist.
Oh, I don't think I picked that. So let's have a look.
And I think, oh yeah, a lot of people are this idea, yeah. You know, I think what attracts me about this is alchemy is something that I enjoy. I like the idea of putting pieces and parts together that don't normally work for a surprising outcome, and this pursuit of that in that curiosity. So I like the way that we have, you know, holding a ball, and then we have a serpent, and there's a lot of references to other things in that, and the black and the red. So it just makes me ridiculously happy to see something like this. So
I love all the elements being represented as well within the ball, you know, by having the 5-pointed star.
Yeah. Regina has asked, what do you mean people have different personalities? I don't know. Do you need me to swap away, you know, a tarot sachet? She's just right over there. I can get her out, but I don't want to scare Simon. This is his first time on my channel, people. Don't make me. What? I won't scare you?
Won't scare me.
Oh, well, you know. Oh,
been on YouTube too long.
You know, give us a few seconds. Here, watch this, and we'll come back and we'll be totally different people. So, you know, it's just sort of fun that way. So, but yeah, this just makes me happy. I love that, especially the hand, because I think it's something that when I see this card, it reminds me that I am part of it. I am part of that creation. It starts with my movement. So that's me.
And you talked about it starting the beginning. The hand holding the sphere with the pentacle is very much like the Ace of Pentacles, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which again, that start, that beginning process.
Exactly. Yeah. And there's lots of references to things that we recognize. So absolutely. So, all right. What other cards do you have, Simon?
I have the Awakener. I adore this card. I like the different art mediums here. You've got, you know, a very sort of our shading is really different. I don't know if it's the cards or the camera, but yours seem really darker. Look at your lion to my lion.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just the camera.
I have my ring light set up for natural. I don't know if that's the thing. So,
but yeah, I really love this because this is it's a wake up call. You know, here is the lion, who is very calm, very serene, but in slumber. You know, normally, you know, cats are on the edge, looking out, always aware, one eye open. But here is this lion who's very calm and in slumber, and then you've got an owl, which is associated with wisdom, with this sort of trumpet. It's this kind of wake up call that you've got here, and it's, you know, the card is Awakener, but it's just to remind us to be ever present. You know, like the cats that are. You walk into a room and a cat's asleep, it's never really asleep, is it? You know, you only have to make a certain sound or say its name and they spring to life within a nanosecond. So it's about, you know, needing to be ever present, really, and to look out for those kind of wake up calls when needed.
Yeah, and I appreciate that also. And one of the things that it reminds me, because Oracle decks, everyone is unique, and so it's an intuitive response. Yeah, Diane, I love Simon's laugh. You know,
you need to read Tony's last comment.
Uh oh. I'm glad Gerald's ring is natural.
Oh, that did make me laugh. I was trying to keep it together then because you was talking very seriously, and I saw Tony's comment, and oh dear.
It's okay. You know, it's all about some fun. So, and okay, yeah. Or she's like, when I have to ask Gerald about his camera setup, and Scott's like, Gerald's from the dark side. I'll be happy to be from the dark side because it helps everybody see the light. You can't have one without the other, right? So, Tubby Tarot did a review of it a year ago. I'll try to find his channel, or I don't know what that's in reference to. So, okay. Okay. So, but you know, what's nice about this is I could actually read this in different ways, Simon, to where is the lion actually observing the owl doing something before it should? Is the owl waking the lion up? You know, it's very, very interesting. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And there was people who were loving the fact that Kim had said she is so in love with the whimsical aesthetic of this deck. I agree. So,
and I love it because there is so much image, you know, not only that it's borderless, but the keywords are really indiscreet, aren't they?
Yeah.
So we have to really kind of look for them. They're just beautiful. They're a lovely size, and you really get to see a lot of the image.
Yeah. And that's important. That's I appreciate how you said that. It really is about there's nothing separating you from the image, and the title are in different spots.
Yeah.
On the cards. So, all right. What else have you got, Simon?
I've got the Anima and Animus. I love it. I love any cards that depict the duality within all things. Something I've always been big about, you know, until I realized it was an offensive term. My channel used to be called Two Spirit, but that was just because, you know, I followed two spiritual paths. Again, you know, I believed in embracing the feminine within as much as the masculine within. But what I love about this, you know, you've got everything, polar opposites. You've got your sun and your moon, you've got your earth and your heavens. But then in the background, you know, you've got a two-headed being, which has the sun and the moon. But it's beautiful because it talks about the union, and even the bodies, you know, they have this split down with different shading, different muscle tones, because it's a union of opposites, and it talks about the female within male and the male within female, and it gives you that sort of sense that gender actually is fluid. And like I've always said, gender is what's between your ears, not what's between your legs.
Yeah.
And you know, it's very much about having and being comfortable and embracing the duality in all things, because everything has an opposite, everything. And I don't know why we always have to try and pigeonhole into categories.
Right.
So yeah, beautiful, beautiful card.
Yeah. Thanks, Regina. I'll take that. It's only the dark side because it is dense with fabulous ideas. And Jonathan radiates dark light. Well, there you go. So, hi, Amy. Yeah, well, yeah. So anyhow, okay, so I did that one. I think I know one that you are going to actually have too.
I wonder if it's going to be, oh, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the green mat. Where was it you showed this recently?
I think it was on Tangi's. I think it was on the live with Tangi, Maria, and me.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah.
And there's just it really, with this, what I really appreciated is there's no distinct separation between human and plant.
No.
They're truly intermingled. So
yeah, the green man is part vegetation, you know, but the roots, you know, reminding us of our interconnection with nature and the earth.
Yeah.
You know, the green man is like the again, the kind of masculine element of, you know, Gaia, really. Nature and everything else.
Yeah.
But yeah, the green man is the steward of everything that grows, everything that's abundant, everything that sustains our, you know, our life, our way of life.
Yeah. Tony, I would say mine is probably closer to the truer color on the screen. Because this deck does have some darks to it. So, would you agree, Simon?
Sorry, say that again. I'll just read what's
Tony asked, which is truer to the color on the screen of the deck?
I think it's somewhere in between, because yours seems a little bit more shadowy, but mine is a little bit too light.
Yeah.
So can you see the eyes seem a little bit clearer in mine?
Yeah, that's true.
And when I'm looking at them here, there is some shadows there, but that's probably it. When we're up close like that.
Yeah.
I love that. You know?
Like, whoop, 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 whoop. Robin asked, what's the 1847 reference? And I think that's part of the artistic style of Nick Bantock. There's a lot of ephemera, and I do that when I create my own artwork too. So
an ephemera, just in case there isn't, you know, if there's people here that's not quite sure what it is, it's just any kind of scrap. You know, it could be a random stamp, it could be a stamp that goes on a passport, it could be a cutting out of just random words from a newspaper clip. Or
exactly.
Yeah.
And Kim asked, for those who have this deck, what type of readings do you use with the Archeo, or do you even use it in readings? I actually have used it for what's the overall feel that you could work with as you are approaching the question that you've asked me and that I've done the reading for. I would use it the same way other archetype cards, just, it's like, okay, what are the archetypes that you need to know about and feel? How about you, Simon?
Yeah, so I've used it for a daily card pull. So I'll do my 3-card spread in the morning, and then I think to myself, okay, so I know kind of how my day can pan out or what I need to focus on throughout the day. But then I pull an Archeo card for what qualities and attributes can this archetype, imbue to me so that I can carry that throughout the day. So very similar. It's about, what sort of qualities can I take from this archetype to focus on, and learn from throughout the day. And it's incredible because, well, I'll get to it when I get to that card. But my card for for today, I was like, oh great, I'm going on Gerald's channel tonight to talk about this deck, and I get this card for this morning. But when we get to it, I'll explain. And throughout the day, that archetype does pop up, and you think, oh, actually, I can use this. So
that's brilliant. That's brilliant. Kim said, that makes sense. I like the way you both use the deck. So, yeah. So, I picked the Hypocrite as one of my cards that I appreciate. And one of the reasons that I picked this Hypocrite is it looks very similar to Francis Bacon paintings. I think Francis Bacon, if you want to look the artist up, does weird pictorial, images of people, portraits, and it just reminds me of the Pope, and I really appreciating seeing the dynamic. And I actually think that when you look at the face, it's like, ooh, wow. And so this is somebody who's, Kristen Louise is like, France is bacon. Anyone hear that joke? So, and MA says, yeah, it sure looks like it. So, but I'm drawn to the Francis Bacon paintings. I was fortunate enough to see some of them when I was visiting Chicago some years back. So I like that. So yeah, it's so very similar. And I think it's a definite issue. I think it's a nod to, without actually copyright infringement. So, but yeah, so there's that one.
I didn't pick that one as one I like, but the one I'm going to, if I can, the one I'm going to show next is kind of like a polar opposite for me, and it's Sage. And I just found this really, really beautiful. And sometimes the Hierophant in the tarot will be renamed, and I've seen it a few times as Sage. But this is so opposite of an authoritative figure to me, whereas this one, and it says Hypocrite, but what I really like about the Sage, this is Siddhartha, the historical Buddha, Siddhartha Gautama. And, he just taught, but what he taught wasn't dogma. And what he taught was that everybody, and this, we talk about equality now, 2,500 years ago, he was talking about equality, and, that's lots of troubles within Buddhism ever since. But he actually said through the Lotus Sutra that we are all equal, and we are all Buddha. We all have Buddha nature. We all have Buddhahood. And what he's saying by that is, he's not special. He's a human being. He was born into luxury, a prince, but he gave all that up to find what really brought him joy. And what brought him joy was that sort of trust in the inner self, the trust in the reservoir of knowledge and everything else, the fact that we are the sum of our lived experiences. And not everybody could handle that. Not everybody could handle that level of responsibility that, we are Buddha, we all have that same essence to us. So I really love that and that's what a sage is. It's somebody who teaches, but they're not a hypocrite. They don't put on robes and tell people how to be. They show people how to be.
Right. I like the way you said that, because I think of a sage as somebody who has been through it and understands it and has grown through it and will point the way and guide you, but will let you do your work. Where a hypocrite just points and tells you exactly what to do, even though they may not have done their own work.
Yeah.
So it's sometimes how I feel about it. So, yeah. So, excellent. Oh, go ahead. Oh, wait a minute. Let's see. The MA said the slant rhyme of hypocrite, Herafont. Interesting. I read Siddhartha in 7th grade, and I was going to a private school at the time. That was a great book. Did you read that book, Simon?
No, for me, the best book ever written about Siddhartha was a book by Deepak Chopra called Buddha.
Okay.
I know you guys say Buddha, don't you, over there? But Buddha by Deepak Chopra is brilliant. It's written as a novel, but it's as historically correct as it can be. Because it's all been passed down by tongue. Even his teachings were translated orally. Nothing was written down then. But it is a fantastic, phenomenal read. And like I said, I struggle with big books unless a book can grab me instantly and drag me through it. And this book really did. So I didn't read Siddhartha, but Buddha by Deepak Chopra, phenomenal.
I will write that down. And you and I are probably similar. Is a book has to grab me, and I have to consume it very quickly, because if I don't consume it all in one taking, in one, or a short amount of time, I will lose interest in it. So
yeah.
So Orshi is heading out. Thank you, Kristen Louise.
Hi,
and Justin Michael said hello, Chaos. Well, hello. So, and Regina's like, why is Justin Michael talking about chaos? Did I miss something? No, there's no chaos here.
Why is he talking about chaos?
I don't know. Oh, and Diane said that book is free on YouTube as an audiobook by Deepak Chopra.
Oh, wow. There you go.
So, but yeah. Do you have another card that you'd like to share?
I still have all these. How many shall we do? Because I will take some out if...
Well, how long can you stay?
I'm probably good for, what time is it? 8 o'clock. I probably could do another 30 minutes.
Okay. Then
just that's okay with you. But we can always speed it up a bit. I got Illuminator. I love that anyway. It's from the Archeo tarot, that sun. And it appears in Deck of the Bastard. But what I love about this is, the sun radiates light, and, we don't have half truths. We don't live in the shadows like we get from the moonlight and the starlight. The sun illuminates everything, and we see things clearly. And this is on the top of a lighthouse, and a lighthouse tries to replicate what the sun does. It illuminates, but it's showing you the way to safety. It's bringing you through a storm. It's that guiding. And when you think of the tarot and the journey you go on, the star talks very much about kind of like the light at the end of the tunnel, but we still have to get through the moon and seeing things in that sort of illusionary way and the half truth. But then, this as the Illuminator. And if we're thinking of that as an archetype, somebody who just radiates truth, light, beauty. It's a beautiful card.
Yeah. Okay, Justin, actually, it was chaps, not chaos. Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
I can be chaos, chaps. I mean, I mean, that's okay. I mean, Regina, there's a Tuck Box Rage song, chaos chaps. So,
Have I got it somewhere? I think it might be. Somebody's on about the. It's probably back here. Oh, it's here.
oh yeah, look at that. There you go.
Similar. I think it's slightly different, but it's taken from the Archeo, and it's in the bastard. But
Chaos chaps built my hot rod. Chaos wearing chaps is better in my opinion. Yeah, that's good. So, all right. One other thing about this is I love the idea of a lighthouse, and putting the sun on top of it, because the lighthouses they are in the dark to keep people safe from hitting the rocks. But if you think about it, the moon is out, and the moon just simply reflects the sun. So I think there's an interesting correlation there. So, Justin, my life is chaos. So I'm sorry. And Rob and I am not watching What We Do in the Shadows, but I think that's a rather funny series. I've heard. So, I picked Midwife.
did you?
I did. And let me tell you why I picked Midwife. I picked this because I am a particular fan of this image here, because I recently heard or read somewhere there is a saying, I believe it's Native American, and but it is about that all of the eggs in your all of your eggs were established in your grandmother. So there's that longevity, and there's that connection, and it's just one of those things that I really appreciate when I need to be reminded of my connection to the past and how I am connecting to the future. And it really helps me, Simon, just go, okay, breathe, and you've survived this far, you're going to survive again. And I also love the idea of a midwife is someone who actually helps to birth things, and it could be birthing a new idea, it could be helping somebody do a YouTube channel. It's this idea of it's honoring that person's experience, and then supporting them. So
I like that.
yeah, good. People who do midwifery are really pretty powerful and incredible, because they're paying attention to the whole person and the whole experience. And it's not just about, it's about the mother, but it's also about the child and those supporting the mother and the child. So anyhow, deep and philosophical, conversation. So I like that. So you're welcome, Jackie. There's more chaos and chaps, conversation. So, and Robin's probably being really cute, but and he's talking about that What We Do in the Dark. It's a story about vampires. I didn't like it at first, but got sucked into it.
He likes Call the Midwife. Yeah, good show.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Call the Midwife. I've never seen that. I've not watched that one.
Haven't you? It's a slow burner. My sister told me about it, and I was like, I'm not really into period dramas big time. But it's set around, now it's in the 1960s. We've just had the World Cup in 1966 in the last season. It starts in the 1950s in a very impoverished part of London. But yeah, it's quite good. It's easy viewing,
Yeah.
Sunday viewing.
Yeah. Cool. All right. What would you like to share next, Simon?
I'm going to talk about the innocent.
Yes.
So the innocent, really, I the reason why I like this image is because, you know, when we think of the innocent as an archetype, we think of that kind of inner child, that sort of being in touch with that sort of inquisitive nature. And I can always remember, you know, as a kid being told things like, stop poking your nose in where it's not wanted.
Oh,
And this is very much sort of, if you don't poke your nose in and you don't, you know, get all inquisitive, then how do you find out about things, you know? And I just love this sort of, this innocent kind of child with that sort of childlike curiosity.
mm-hmm.
And yeah, I just really liked it. I thought it was really sort of really interesting. And there's so much about it, you know. I mean, even like the costume and the dress with this kind of ruffle, you just don't know what kind of time frame it's from, or
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and is she, you know, big ears equal stop ear wigging, wigging,
stop here again.
and you know, it's like what little pots have big ears. You know, the idea that kids are always listening. So, and yeah, and Amy mentioned Dark Shadows. Yes, Amy, I'm watching Dark Shadows, and boy, back in the '60s, that was pretty phenomenal. So.
I've not heard of that.
Oh, Dark Shadows. It's a 1960s black and white soap opera, which is, you know, a daily. Are you familiar with that term, soap opera?
Yeah.
Okay. But it's based upon the main character is a vampire, and it's about him and the interactions of his world and other sort of odd creatures and weird things that happen. They're short, they're about 25 minutes long.
So are they based in the 1960s, or is it a rerun from the 1960s?
These are these came out in the 60s, and so they're available to watch on some streaming. So just sort of watching them, and it's like when I watch it, Simon, sometimes I'm watching these effects and I'm like, oh, man, these are so cheesy. And then I go, you know, this was 1965 and they were doing this. This had to freak some kids out.
Like our Doctor Who over here.
And I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
So, Barnabas Collins, thank you. Yes. So, but yeah. So, all right. Yeah, I like that innocent. So, would you be surprised if I picked the Observer?
Of course not.
And I picked the Observer because, you know, I like the glasses and I like the idea of observation is still engagement. And many times I personally need to be reminded to shut the hell up and just observe what's going on, because there's a lot to be understood by observing.
Yeah.
So, Justin, Nick Bantock and I are like this. You know, we're like this. He asked me to model for him. And he got really frustrated when I didn't actually have a tattoo on my head like this. So I just had to put, you know, I had to stick some stuff on there. So.
Have you noticed that half the face is feline as well?
Yes. And it's just so very intriguing, isn't it?
Hmm.
And it's a bit steampunky.
Yeah.
So, yes, observation is still engagement. Tony's heading out. Bye, Tony. Yeah, very steampunky. So, but yeah. And I like that because sometimes it reminds me, just shut up and just, I mean, and still be engaged. And that helped me as a facilitator for training programs. Just because someone is quiet doesn't mean that they're not benefiting.
Absolutely.
And I need to honor and respect that that's how they take in information, and to make it okay for person to be the observer or to be quiet. There's a book that was written, I don't remember the author, but it's called Quiet. And if you've not read that, that's a good listen, Simon. It's called Quiet, and it's about introverts and what introverts add to the world, and what I'm a hardcore extrovert. Surprise! I know, everybody gasp. But it's that it's what extroverts need to do to help really benefit everyone. And when I started applying some of these at work, Simon, the engagement level and the production and the quality of outcome was phenomenal. It was like, okay, you're different than me, and now I understand how to work with you. And it's like, it was incredible.
The education system, I don't know about over there, but over here really does need an overhaul, because we talked about this as well. Because when we had our UK Tarot meetup, there was a few of us that were from teaching profession. Richie was there, Sinead was there, and was talking about this kind of model of one size fits all. You know, you study, you cram information. Oh, Richard's there. Hello. Talking of which. And then you have to sit an exam, you know, and we know now that, you know, there is things like ADD, ADHD, autism, you know, and you can't apply that sort of one size fits all way of learning and teaching, because you have to make sure that every single individual, and whatever their learning style is, you know, afforded to them. And you're absolutely right. Somebody who sits back doesn't indicate disengagement. You know, it might be that they need to just really try and focus. And as somebody with ADD, I have to really focus, you know, and try and get a hook in to be able to keep that sort of focus, the longevity of that focus. So I went through school just really petrified of exams, because I knew that I couldn't retain information the same way as everybody else did. So for me, you know, continual assessment is great. And most of my qualifications came later in life, because, you know, the school kind of compulsory education model didn't really work for me. I'm just going to flick my light on because it's gone very dark.
The author of Richie said, "Say my name 3 times and I appear."
That was really strange. Really strange.
Actually, that is sort of what happened. It is the full title of the book is Quiet: The Power of Introverts in a World That Can't Stop Talking. And it was written in 2012 by Susan Cain, C-A-I-N. So it was really quite wonderful. So, oh, and look, Regina already did it. So did Jackie. Tangi is the same way as you. Justin's ADD doesn't get bad until I develop sleep issues. Same with his mother. So,
well, when I was at school, there was no mention of ADD, ADHD. You know, I was 31 when I got diagnosed. So
I was about 40, 43.
Yeah.
So, and when it went, I remember actually saying to my therapist and my doctor, it's like, is this what other people experience? The ability to, you know, have a thought and follow it through? And they're like, no, we just, you know, and they actually made me feel really fine. It's just like, everybody experiences it differently. Now you know how to connect things faster, and you know how to follow through, because it was incredible. So, but yeah. So, all right, you got another one? I have one left.
Oh, okay. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We don't need to do all 6.
Well, I definitely want to know which one you pulled this morning.
Okay, that's the one after this. So I'll quickly. I got Fatalist as one I wanted, that I really like, because this is for Tuna, isn't it? But what I really like about this, she's balancing on the wheel, which is you know, and between these two kind of terra firmas, she's like in this over this precipice, blindfolded. But then you've got these little figures turning the kind of axles, and if they're not in unison, then that wheel is gonna turn in all different directions. And if she keeps on working forwards, but then the wheel starts to go back, and it gives me that sense that we can only be in control as much as we can. We can be as prepared as we can for the Wheel of Fortune, if you like, but actually things also happen outside of our control. The universe operates independently of our actions. It's fact. And whilst we can try and put ourselves in rhythm with the universe and, do everything as much as we can, and I do believe in cause and effect, there are still external factors that, can make that wheel go in a different direction and have you, falling through the crack.
Right. Yeah. It's I like the way these cards are created to help definitely tell a story. And we have here, we have the arrows going up and down. And
yeah.
That's really quite interesting. And Malamar said introversion and extroversion is about how you get and manage your energy. Yes. And that processing and that I'm an introvert, but not shy, and I gather my energy by spending time by myself and in my own headspace, for example. Yeah. And I think that impacts how we engage the world, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, all right. You want to do one more, and then I'll do my last. Well, you get to do two more. You want to do one, and I'll do one, and then you do the last.
Okay.
One.
So I'll disregard those and just do the card that I pulled today, and then one that I did really want to talk about as well. So this was today's card, which was Demon. I mean, the art in this is absolutely phenomenal, but I just remember thinking, oh, it'll be interesting. I'm going to pull a card and we're going to be talking about this deck tonight. And then I pulled Demon. But, the Demon really helps us to, how can I put it? Without the Demon or the Devil, if we're talking in the context of the tarot, we wouldn't be, I don't know how to word what I'm trying to say. We recognize our weaknesses when confronted by our demons, don't we? And that sort of gullibility that we find ourselves in when we're, within the kind of audience of our demons, I think, without the demon, without the devil, we would be more gullible than what we actually are. But the demon helps us to recognize, I think this is what I'm trying to say, it helps us to recognize our weaknesses, as well as the dishonesty of other people, because we can look at the demon in other people as well, and we can see their dishonesty, and we can also think about our gullibility in that situation. But for me, the demon, the devil, it highlights where our weaknesses are, where our shortfallings are, and what we need to do to break those bonds, to break those chains that the demon, the devil can have on us.
Yeah, that's well said. Thank you. So what'd you say?
I got there in the end.
You got there in the end, and I followed along. So has this been how has the may I put you on the spot, and you have every right to go. I don't want to answer that. How has this card helped you today with this live, or was it with this live or with the work day?
It was with the work day.
Okay.
There was a situation today that I got a call, which meant I had to drop everything I was doing and drive 42 miles to sort out an issue with an individual that how can I put it? It goes through a similar cycle without learning the lesson from that cycle, and we find ourselves in this situation again and again and again. And it was about their everything. They catastrophize everything, and it just makes. I was thinking as I was driving there about how it was making me feel having to drop everything and deal with this situation when we've been here before, you know. And then I just thought about this archetype and this card and the fact that actually, you know, maybe it's a weakness in me. Maybe I haven't dealt with this properly in the past, or supported that person enough, because we keep ending up in this kind of situation.
But it's also that idea of is if this is a repetitive behavior, then that's a different conversation, but not at the time you're in that crisis. You know, it's like, okay,
yeah,
let's talk about the last couple of years, and this is what happens, and this is how you respond. How do we not do that anymore?
Yeah, but that kind of dialogue, that inner dialogue I was having, where I was like, why don't they listen? You know, why are we here again? Why don't they listen? What can and it was then it was like, well, they obviously aren't listening. So maybe if someone's not listening, you need to say things in a different way, you know, or you maybe need to support them better than you are supporting them.
Yeah, that's true.
So that whole thing about, you know, the demon makes you confront your weaknesses, play this part where actually, instead of me looking at this being the fault of somebody else, what part do I play in this situation for this situation to keep happening?
Yeah, well said. Well said. My last card is the strategist.
Oh,
and there's something about this person. First of all, in my mind, I like to think that that's exactly how I'm going to look when I'm 70. You know, very, very distinguished, and you know, holding onto a pipe, and you know, all of that. But there is a keen observation going on there, but also paying attention to the bigger picture. And Robin is correct. That is Duchamp. He's an artist, and I like Duchamp and his artwork. So that could certainly be the same. You know, that could be why I appreciate it. But there's a there's a very distinguished approach in his look. And Tangi said his eyes seem to be two different. His hands seem to be two different ages. I didn't notice that before.
No.
Certainly could be. So, but yeah. So, but yeah, and I thank you that it's Duchamp. So, I approve. Yeah, and Duchamp had a fantastic way of viewing things. So, all right, what do you got, Simon?
So my last one, and I really love this card, but when I first saw it, I was a little bit bemused by it, and it's Mooncat. Again, because the moon is from the Archeo tarot, and I love that moon. But I was like, Mooncat, what archetype is Mooncat?
Thank you. I'm glad you said it, because I was like, what?
It's curiosity and intuition, and it's the melding of the two. And you know, I am a curious person. Perhaps I should rephrase that. I am somebody who, you know, is always kind of curious about things, and an intuitive person. And the Mooncat is, you know, we hear the phrase, don't we? Curiosity killed the cat. And the moon, and again, that sort of that intuition, like how, you know, popular it is when it appears in tarot cards and things. But yeah, I just love the melding of the two, you know, the archetypal energy of curiosity and intuition.
Yeah.
And I love
Yeah.
the cat's face. I really
Yeah,
love the cat's face.
Yeah, I was looking at, and the cat's eyes almost appear human.
Yes, they do. They really do.
Susie loves your insight, Simon.
Thank you, Susie.
So, and people are remembering their cats, their kitty cats. So, but yeah. So
Justin says, I'm the moon cat. We all are. Yes, I agree, Justin. Yeah.
Yeah.
We should never stop being curious, you know?
Very
it's
true.
what drives forward. It's how we learn. It's how we assimilate in the world, you know? Curiosity. If people weren't curious about things, we would never advance.
That is so very true. That's
But
so
bringing in that sort of intuition as well, you know, is
yeah.
the beautiful bedfellows.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay, we're almost out of time. And was there anything that you did not particularly like about the deck?
Do you know, I thought about that, and I don't. The only card which I mentioned earlier was the Hypocrite card. There was just something about it, but I think I know what that is, and that's just kind of linked to, you know, how I feel about dogma and all that kind of stuff. But I think it's an important card. I think they're all really important cards. I just love this deck so much. There isn't any card where I'm like, oh, I need, you know how some people say, I really struggled with that card, so I left it out. And you can do that more with Oracle decks. You can't really with Tarot because it's a system, it's a structure. But there isn't any cards in here that I would not use. I think they're all equally important.
Yeah.
And all beautifully illustrated, and the stories and the writings in the book is wonderful.
I agree. It really adds, the stories and the writing in the book just add a depth of it that are really phenomenal. And I think the one thing that I don't particularly care about it is it's a bit of an odd size to shuffle. So a bit for me, it's just sort of, I don't know, maybe it's too wide or whatever, but I can do it. It's just a little weird. So
yeah,
but yeah. So what were you reading?
What I do when I have my card of the day, I put a little sticky, because it moves, you know, it does. This is glossy paper.
Yeah.
And I was reading a bit that I highlighted from this morning, which was under demon, and it says, in many ways, the demon is the hardest Archeo to acknowledge, yet he is necessary. Without him, we would be utterly gullible. And that's what I was talking about, you know. On the one hand, he is a slippery manipulator. On the other, he helps us recognize dishonesty and duplicity, both in ourselves and in others. If you keep him contained, his familiarity with animosity will serve you well. But if you allow him to convince you that indulgence is your birthright, you'll quickly lose your way. With one foot in the dark and the other dancing in the blinding light, the demon is both tormentor and realist, and thus an unpredictable teacher or ally. And I love that, you know, that sort of two sides of the same coin.
And that's, I think that when we do that, and we can do it a little differently each day, we are growing. I think that you know, works quite well.
And it says, certainly if you hold him on, certainly you must hold him at arm's length, but do not try and banish him. You do not want to make an enemy. And it's so true, isn't it? It's almost like, you know, keep your friends and your enemies close.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, it's brilliant. Brilliantly written.
Yes. So, I did challenge Simon and ask what deck he might pair with this. Did you have a chance to figure that out?
I thought long and hard about it, but you know, because the way I've been, so Gerald and I was talking before I went out. I bought this deck in Glastonbury, which was 3 weeks ago, then came back and went on another holiday. So I unboxed it about 2 weeks ago, and then had a very busy time. So the way I've used it is at the moment is just by pulling one card. So, you know, my daily draw cards, it's serving well. And I just think because it's an archetype deck, I think it can pair, not compare, it can pair with any tarot deck.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's tarot is made up of archetypes, you know.
Right.
And so having the archetype deck where you can look at your reading but take a particular archetypal energy and its qualities and attributes and apply them to your reading in your day, then I just think it can pair with any deck, really.
Yeah.
What about yourself?
I was, from an aesthetic standpoint, I was actually looking at the Alchemical Tarot Renewed.
Okay.
By Robert in Place, and just actually pulling up some cards. Aesthetically, they are extremely similar. So, you know, they have that feel. But it's like I'm sort of like you. I was like going, well, it'll work with anything.
Yeah.
It will. So that's well said. So, but yeah, so it's like, okay. And Kim said I would pair it with the Stretch Tarot.
Oh, that's a good choice.
I don't think I have the Stretch Tarot. I know, gasp, the internet gasp, because I don't have a deck. Simon does, but I don't. So,
the creator is great as well. I love the creator of the Stretch Tarot.
So, glad everybody enjoyed that. Enjoyed this. This was so much fun, Simon. Here's the opportunity where you can talk about what do you got coming up that you want to share with people.
Oh, no, there's the thing. I'm just carrying on doing what I do. I've got my cup of catch up on Saturday, and then a week on Saturday I've got Candy coming on. And Candy's lovely, so I'm interviewing Candy a week on Saturday. But other than that, I'm on top of my unboxings. Although my parents said, "Oh, you've had a package today," and I'm like, I really can't remember ordering anything, so I'm going over there tomorrow to see what that is. But yeah, just usual stuff that you can find on the Hermit's Cave. So
lovely. Yeah, and everybody, you know, I'm going to be obvious, but I'm sure people already have liked and subscribed to your channel, and because when things work. So next Monday, Richard and I we're having a casual that would be Longman Tarot. He and I are going to be chatting, and you know, we might have something in the plans, maybe, and maybe people should like and subscribe in order to be able to find out about that. We might, no details.
Will fans play a part? Because I think Richie has also got one of your fans, hasn't he?
Of course, fans will play a part. I know everybody wants one, so I just love the thwart. It sounds so good, you know. It makes a statement. So
yeah.
Regina's like, fine little latte. You know, there will be something short coming out. I believe it's on Wednesday, Tuck Box Rage related. So we were there was going to be a magic tool talk, which was going to be about chalices. That was actually going to be coming up tomorrow, but I've postponed that a week because life has come into play. And so that will be on Tuesday, the 14th at 4 p.m. Eastern, which is 9 British summertime. And I think that's it. So, gosh, everybody, thank you. This has been wonderful. MA is like, Oh my, I've been to the grocer and back, and you're still on. Well,
It has gone so fast, though. Really, really fast. But it was so enjoyable, Gerald. Thank you. I love the opportunity to talk about decks anyway, but you're a great host, and really enjoyed my time here. So thank you for asking me to come on.
Yeah, you're welcome. And if anybody else wants to come on and talk to me about a deck, send me an email. I'm at terrorstash@gmail. Simon survived, and it wasn't too bad. And let me know what deck you might want to chat about. I might have it, I might not. But so everybody, thank you. Be good to yourselves. Be nice to each other. You know, drink some extra water. So, all right. Bye, everybody.